everyone, and welcome to Success Search. For this video, I will give a book overview of good arguments. In our everyday lives, from personal relationships to politics, we argue or debate about certain issues. Though oftentimes we don't know how to better communicate our arguments and even win a debate. Most times we try to avoid a debate. However, there will always be times in which we must stand up for our beliefs and our stance on issues. So this book will teach you how to become a better debater and make good arguments. So what is this book? It's a book written by Bo Seo, who is a two-time debating world champion. He had a passion in debate ever since 5th grade as an extracurricular activity. Throughout his time, he learned, practiced, and mastered principles of debate that helped him win 2 debating world championships. Motivated to help others become debatable, he wrote this book called Good Arguments. In the book, he gave insights of his life as a debater and wrote essential lessons on what it takes to be a good debater. So Bo divided the book into 9 chapters, in which each chapter covers the main lessons he learned as a debater in his chronological order. They involve some of his personal experiences and stories that led him to learn these lessons, which are topic, argument, rebuttal, rhetoric, quiet, self-defense, education, relationships, and technology. For each of these lessons, we can apply them in our personal and professional lives. For the next slides, I will gladly explain them in detail. To find a debate, the first thing to do is identify the topic and stick with it. It should be a claim in which 2 or more people disagree on. However, we may be tempted to debate something in general, like the economy. We could talk and discuss a lot about the economy, but what about something specific such as the government ought to raise taxes? That's something at least 2 people would debate about. Thus, a topic should be specific, not general. With that, the topic can come in 3 forms. The first form is a factual disagreement, in which they center on claims about the way things are, in which X is Y. For example, Jane is an unreliable friend. The second form is a judgmental disagreement, in which they center on claims about our judgment about things, in which X should be considered Y. For example, lying is and should be considered immoral. The third form is a prescriptive disagreement, in which they relate to what we should do, in which X should do Y. For example, the family should get a gym membership. Whatever form of proposition, be sure it has its opposite and stick with your stance on the topic. Once you identify the topic and understand your standing on it, you should make your point by having an argument. An argument is a conclusion justified by a main claim and supporting reasons and evidence. So certainly an argument needs to have a right structure in order to be legitimate and challenging to anyone who opposes. In the structure, the argument should first have a conclusion, a main claim, reasons, and evidence. For example, you give a conclusion that Bob is not fit for the waiter job because of the main claim that he is clumsy. You then give a reason that he is not careful when carrying things. Then you give an evidence that he recently dropped a tray of drinks one night. That way, the argument can have a logical flow with the supporting statements to convince the audience. Now, whatever argument you make, be sure that it achieves two burdens of proof before it can convince a listener, which are the truth and the importance of the argument. In the argument, you emphasize the truth that Bob is, in fact, clumsy, and the importance that, if he is clumsy, then he is not fit for the job. That way, you can have better chances of winning over your listeners. Though for every argument, someone will always push back with a rebuttal. Rebuttal is the art of opposing an argument. You will face times in which someone will make an argument that you oppose. Sometimes you may just shrug off the opposition to avoid unnecessary conflict. However, there will be times in which you must make a rebuttal, such as when standing up for what's right, or when in a professional debate. In those times, don't avoid the conflict. Make a rebuttal. After your opposer makes an argument, make a rebuttal by pointing out the argument's untruth and unimportance. For the untruth, you can say that the argument is factually incorrect, lacks evidence, or inconclusive. Let's make a rebuttal to the argument over Bob and his job as a waiter, for example. You can say the argument is factually incorrect by saying Bob is not generally clumsy, or lacks evidence that he is clumsy every day, or inconclusive because others say someone tripped him. Those instances help break down an argument's truth. For unimportance, you can point out how unimportant the argument is, or how it's outweighed by other considerations. For instance, Bob's clumsiness is unimportant because accidents happen in that job, or that he may be clumsy sometimes, but he can learn to be more careful. Those instances help break down the importance of an argument. Finally, after pointing out the untruth and unimportance of an argument, you must provide a counterclaim of the argument to conclude. Opposing the argument that Bob is not fit for the waiter job because he is clumsy, you counterclaim that Bob should keep the job because he's not clumsy every time. And that's how you push back. Though it may be hard to include all the elements of a rebuttal, they give guidelines on how to oppose an argument effectively. Though arguments themselves are not enough, we also need to learn how to move people by using rhetoric, which is how we state the argument. Like what the ancient Greek philosophers discussed, rhetoric is the art of persuading other people through eloquence and clarity. Though it's hard for us to understand how we should exactly be rhetorical, the author gave some guidelines on what and what not to do in our speeches and debate, so that we can motivate others effectively. On the level of words, we should have no abstract words. On the level of sentences, we should not give confusing metaphors nor excess qualification of claims. On the level of paragraphs, we should have no buried ideas nor thoughtless repetition. In proportionality of speech, we should not emote in which we express feelings dramatically, nor insinuate in which we say things indirectly. In personality of debate, we should reveal the journey and name the stakeholder. And last of all, to have a good panache or confidence in speech, we should find the applause line in which we leave time for people to ponder and cheer. By remembering these rules, we can become better in rhetoric. Some arguments are worth fighting over, and others are not. Thus, we need to know how to disagree. Some disagreements are not worth debating over, and we can remain quiet. But how would we know if a topic is worth debating over? From his experience, the author offered a reason list to check whether overall argument is worth debating over. RESA stands for real, important, specific, and aligned. The argument is real if there is an actual difference of opinion between the two sides. It is important if the difference of opinion is important enough to justify the disagreement. It is specific if the subject of the disagreement is specific enough to allow the two sides to make some progress toward resolving or ameliorating within the allotted time. And finally, the argument is aligned if the two sides are aligned in their reasons for engaging in the disagreement. Moreover, within an argument, we should choose claims to dispute out of necessity and progress. For necessity, we should determine whether we need to contest the claim in order to resolve the overall dispute. For progress, we should ask ourselves if contesting the claim, necessary or no, gets us closer to resolving the overall dispute. By remembering the reason list and the two good reasons for debate, we can better judge whether an argument is worth debating over. Like in our childhood, we will expect bullies in debates. Bad debaters or bullies often hijack debates because of their techniques to dominate and interrupt. So how do we defeat a bully in a debate? We must understand the different types of bullies and how they hijack the debate. Also, we must remember the self-defense techniques to use against each bully in order to win over them. The first type of bully is a dodger. He never responds to a prompt or question and pivots to his desired topic. To defeat that bully, you have to stay the course with the original topic when given your turn. The second type of bully is a twister. He misrepresents opposing arguments by creating a distorted version of the argument. To defeat that bully, you have to correct the record by pointing out the twister's distortion. The third type of bully is a wrangler. He never commits to a position by not directly addressing his own counterthesis to an opposing argument. To defeat that bully, you have to pin him to a position by asking what he believes. The last but not least type of bully is a liar. They just simply lie by making false statements to mislead the audience. To defeat that bully, don't state out loud that he's a liar. Instead, plug the lie into a broader view of the world. Replace the lie with the truth, and refute representative lies. So with bullies in debates, it's crucial to identify what type they are so that we can use our best counterattack. That way, we would have better chances of winning a debate over them. We may not realize at first, but debate can be an educational tool. It is also essential for raising up citizens who are aware of issues and motivated to solve them. When involved in debate, it can help develop skills like research, teamwork, logical reasoning, composition, and public speaking. Most of all, it teaches how to keep learning from other people and practice some empathy with them. At the same time, it also teaches how to defend our beliefs and values. In the world full of differences, we have to learn how to stand up for ourselves and help others see our perspectives. However, our opposers in debate are not limited to competitors or political rivals. Some of our disputes are with those we are close to, like our family and friends. Thus, we also need to know how to fight and stay together at the same time, because we don't want to just break our relationships with our loved ones. Oftentimes, we wage disputes over trivial matters with our close ones, such as who should do the dishes, who should babysit, and who should take the blame, and so forth. One of the techniques the author gave to settle disputes is called side switch. This is a technique you should do before a debate in which you imagine yourself as your opposer. To do that, you follow the 3 steps. First, you brainstorm the best possible arguments of your opposer. Second, you stress test by reviewing your own arguments from your opponent's perspective and imagine his or her best possible rebuttals to your claims. Third, you do the lost ballot by imagining your opponent winning the debate and write out the reasons why. The point of the technique is that we need to understand our opponents first by going through a few moments of empathy. That way, we will have better chances of winning or settling the disputes, even with our closest friends or family. Like what Sun Tzu said in his book, The Art of War, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. With advancements in technology, it can help us debate for better or for worse. Thus, we need to learn how to debate in the future. Of course, artificial intelligence could challenge us in debates. Most likely, it will win over us, but it's still possible for us to defeat it. By understanding the limits of AI, we can still convince the audience through argument, rebuttal, and rhetoric. Furthermore, the future can have online argument platforms like CMV that allow us to debate with other people elsewhere. That could help train us to become better debaters. So technology may help us in some ways, but we should not be too over-dependent on it to resolve arguments. We still must learn how to debate. Otherwise, we will lose our ability to stand up for ourselves and others. In a conclusion, the author's book gives guidelines and insights on how to better debate. Here's the outline to help you remember the key takeaways from the book. 1 is to stay on topic. 2, make structured arguments. 3, make a rebuttal to every argument. 4, use rhetoric to move people. 5, know when to disagree or remain quiet. 6, learn self-defense against debater bullies. 7, view debate as an education. 8, allow room for empathy for better relationships. And 9, learn how to debate with technology. By remembering the key principles of debate, you will become a better debater and have good arguments with anyone. And that's it for this video. I thank all of you for watching, and I hope you learned some great things about how to debate. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. You'll yet watch some more insightful videos. And until then, I wish you all the best in your debating life, and keep on searching for success.